This is CG Ruthless Sports. I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our SF49ers. Raj, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Nice to see you today, man. I'm hyped up. It was a day off of training camp. I was kind of feeling empty today, so this is good that we're talking.
Hell yeah, dude. Training camp's been popping a little bit, especially the defense, bro.
Woo! Let me tell you, this defense, they are suffocating. I think this could be one of the, honestly, maybe a biased top 3 defense in the league. You got a good secondary now. They've really brought a lot to the table with Charvarius Ward and E-Man. And we know the front 7, the D-line and linebackers are so good, but the secondary is the X factor. And that's going to take them to the top because we haven't had a great secondary in a long time. So I'm excited. Yeah, that defense, man. Jeez.
Yeah, our secondary, since we signed Charvarius Ward, it's gotten a lot better. And then you get Emmanuel Mosley, we all know what he can be. He just needs to get the other man to step up for him.
Yeah, and now you have 2 cornerbacks that are sticky in coverage. They're locked down. It's going to be hard to throw against them. And, the other thing is with that up-front pressure, the D-line getting that quarterback, it's going to take pressure off that back end. They're going to be able to do what they need to do. And I think Charvarius Ward, I was listening to what he was saying with Matt Miyoko. He says he still feels he has a lot to prove. Like, I know he got a big contract, but in his mind, he still doesn't think he's even reached where he could be in this league. And that's scary. And you can tell he's coming into camp with, like, a killer mindset, man. It's so hard to get anything on this guy. And when people get a pass on him, it's like, everybody's like, oh, shit, that was impressive because he's been that good in coverage. The guy that's usually been beating him is Brandon Ayuk, man. Brandon Ayuk has been a dog in training camp. I'll tell you what, it's crazy because last year he was in the doghouse. Remember, everybody's saying he was in the doghouse. Now he's the top dog. This man just transformed himself. He's stronger. He's more focused. And he is just absolutely killing camp. Out of all the people I've seen through this last week of training camp, he's been consistently the best player on the field out of everybody. Like, every day he brings his A game. The defense is pushing him. That defense we're talking about, Fred Warner and Jimmy Ward getting under in to get the most out of him, and he's responding well. It's great to see.
Oh, yeah, Brandon Ayuk, it has to do with the chemistry because him and Trey Lance have been working during this offseason, and it's been paying huge dividends. I mean, I like what Fred Warner is doing, but, hey, it's what brings the best out of the team, if I'm being honest. I mean, some people may kind of feel like a little concern. I don't make it seem like a concern to me. You get that all the time in football camp. You get this intense, you get this passion. But then again, later after the game or after practice, you can just hash it up and let it be.
Yeah, to me, it's friendly competition. It's iron sharpens iron. I always say competition breeds success. When you have your best player on your defense, the captain, he's the captain, and then Jimmy Ward's the captain. When they're pushing Brandon Ayuk and getting the most out of him, it's going to help him in the season. Because if he's not afraid to step up to Fred Warner, if he's not afraid to step up to Jimmy Warner or Jimmy Ward, your best players on defense, your captains, it's like you sticking up to your boss. When your boss comes to your face, what are you just going to shiver and wilter away? No, if you stand up to him, people are going to be like, respect this guy. And if he can stand up to Warner and Jimmy Ward on Sundays, no DB, no linebacker, no safety is going to make this man afraid. He's becoming tough. He's becoming the best version of what he can be. Jimmy Ward said on his press conference, they're purposely attacking him. And then Fred Warner said the same thing. He says, I like to get under Brandon's skin because I know it could get the best out of him. And that's, like you said, at the end of the day, it's just making each other better. And Brandon Ayuk, if he gets a Pro Bowl this year, he better write a thank you card to Fred Warner and Jimmy Ward, man. These guys are pushing him like crazy. That fight the other day, it was like right in front of me, and I was like, oh man, Brandon Ayuk was not taking any crap from anybody. He wanted all the smoke, and he loved to see that because last year he was quiet. He was quiet. He didn't say much. You could tell he was a little frustrated. This year, no, it's a different mindset. Mentally, he wants it, and I think this is a big year for him. Third year, entering the prime of his career. He just saw Debo get a big ass contract. It's time for Brandon Ayuk to go and get that big ass contract.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that's going to be intriguing because this is the year that Brandon Ayuk is going to break out because usually when it comes into like their their third year, this is where they break. It's a make or break year. And him building chemistry with Trey Lance is going to be a huge difference. I kind of like gave Jack Hammer this suggestion question of this buy or sell question. I said that Brandon Ayuk could have more yards than Deebo Samuel. And some people may still say sell, but I think it's going to happen. I think Ayuk's going to be the leading receiver for the Niners.
It's not that big of a hot take. I know I've been debating it too on my show. Like a lot of people are saying BA, and he's got a lot of hype. But I was talking about this earlier today. I kind of feel like Deebo Samuel is underrated all of a sudden. He just signed this big contract, and all of a sudden, Ayuk stole the show. And now everybody expects Brandon Ayuk to have more yards. And it's not far-fetched because one thing you said earlier is that chemistry with him and Trey Lance. Like, that chemistry is golden. You can see it a mile away. You can tell these last 2 years they've been crafting, they've been working, and it's showing on the field. Like, there was a play yesterday. I think the Niners posted it today. Trey rolls out, red zone drills, dart, corner of the end zone. The only player that's going to make this play is Brandon Ayuk. He puts it on the money, and he stretches it. Ayuk stretches out for it. Tight coverage by Charvarius Ward. That's from their training together. And one thing where people are saying he might have more yards than Debo, it could be because that chemistry is going to take him a long way. But I still feel Debo is the key to this offense. He's the kind of that straw that stirs the drink, and this offense is built around Debo. He didn't get all those yards and do all that stuff last year by accident. He was kind of building towards this. Second year, he got hurt, but you could tell when he was in the offense, he was so important to this team. So I think it's going to be close. I think Debo edges him out. He's still, to me, the most important player on this offense, but it's not hard to say. If Debo gets more, or if Ayuk gets more yards than Debo, I won't be surprised. I'll keep it at that.
Yeah, it's not going to be no shocker because I think it's going to be best for the receiving corps because you got those two guys who can step in and play. But here's another guy that people might be sleeping on is Juwan Jennings. This guy has the ability to be a third down clutch player, a red zone threat. I think his ceiling can be like maybe 600 or 700 yards this season if they don't focus more on him.
Yeah, I like Juwan Jennings. I've been kind of projecting him to have a big breakout year. You know, he missed his first year rookie season with the hamstring issue. Last year, he came out and he was that possession receiver, red zone guy, that big, tall guy. He's physical. He can block. He's gnarly with it, you know, and I think that he's working harder to kind of be that guy. He had 5 touchdowns last year, which is pretty crazy, you know, and basically his rookie season last year, if you consider that first year was an injury, right? But I like him, and I think you're right. With all the targets, you have Kittle, you have Ayuk, you have Debo. Who's going to cover Jennings? Who's going to cover Gray? Who's going to cover these guys? So the only thing is Jennings going to get those opportunities because now Debo's you're going to want to give him the ball, right? I mean, he got a big contract. Ayuk's going to want the ball more. So it just depends on how many mouths are there going to be to feed and if Trey's going to make those reads. But I really do think that if Jennings is there and he's open and everybody else is covered, he's definitely a sneaky guy that can get 500, 600 yards, a couple touchdowns. He had, like I said, he had a big time touchdown ratio last year. I mean, he was either getting first downs or touchdowns last year. And I can see that continue this year. And the thing I like about Jennings, good blocker, and Kyle Shanahan rewards that.
Yeah, he's a physical blocker, and the smile too. When he smiles, that means he's one of those players that you definitely want to punch if you're an opposing defense.
Oh yeah, people get irritated by Jennings. Remember last year he had that little headbutt, the fight. I mean, he was getting under people's skin. I love Juwan Jennings. He is just tough, man. He's a gritty player. He popped Diggs in the mouth. You know, he came at him in the playoffs game. Like, God, Juwan Jennings is physical. I would not want to mess around with him if I was in the secondary.
Oh, dude, this guy was a dog coming out of Tennessee, and he was no pushover. Like even when he had some confrontations, and he was one of those kind of players that like called out the coaching staff and felt he needed to question them, and they suspended him for that reason. But I think that's what makes him so passionate. He cares about winning.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like you said, I think the term you use is dog. He is definitely a dog, man. He's tough. Yeah, and it goes back to the days in college. I watched him too, and God, man, he was just physical, and he's tough after the catch. He's definitely a good player. That's gonna have a sneaky season because of the fact of all these other guys getting covered. You can't cover everybody. You just can't.
Yeah, and then you look at the other receiver, Ray McLeod. I'm just intrigued by what's going to happen. He's going to be our return man, but he's going to have a little role of this offense as a gadget player. So it's going to be interesting what we're going to expect from him.
Yeah, I like Ray Ray. He's pretty slippery. He's like elusive. He's a guy out there. He's definitely going to be that return man, but I think he's going to have a decent role on this offense. I know Kyle talked about him a lot a couple months ago during one of the press conferences, and he said, he's not just there for the punt return and the special team. So he's going to help us out. They've done a lot of uh, reverse plays and jet sweeps with Ray Ray. So I think they're going to help take a little pressure off of Debo there, and you can have Ray Ray in there and running some of those gadget type plays. He's quick, so I could see them doing like a little quick slant over the middle, boom, catch and go. I think Ray Ray is going to be a nice little addition. I think the fans are going to enjoy this guy. He seems like he's a hard work, and he's just a good veteran to have around the locker room. We need veterans. You can never have enough good veterans, and I like Ray Ray. I do expect him to have a pretty nice little role carved out in the offense.
Yeah, and I'm more excited about Danny Gray as a speedster, man. This guy is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's had some big like it's tough because he's a rookie, so it's like it's always up and down. He looks like a rookie receiver, but there's times when he's on, he's on. Oh man, like there's just some deep passes that he's had, and it's just like God, he's so quick, he's so fast, and if he kind of puts it all together, and again another guy like Jennings, I mean, who are you going to cover? You got Ayuk, you got Debo, you got Kittle. Can't cover them all, and if Danny Gray is man to man with someone's fourth string cornerback or third string quarterback, I mean, he's gonna burn him. He's gonna burn him. He just has to make sure he catches it, baby. This guy has pure speed. It's so like I watch his release on the line, and I'm like, oh, how are you that fast, man? So if he can translate it to the game, you're right. He's definitely gonna be fun to watch. Intriguing player.
Yeah, pretty intriguing. But when you look at the rest of our defensive linemen, that's going to be the tougher question for us. Like, how many guys are we going to keep? Because I think some of them we cut, they might just go elsewhere, and they might be a good addition for them.
Yeah, I agree. It's a loaded roster, man. Like top to bottom, offense, defense. I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where we have so much talent. I can't really see a weakness other than maybe the O line. It's still a work in progress, developing a lot of youngsters on that line. We still don't really know who's going to be the center. They've been rotating every day. It's like Brunskill, Brendel, Brunskill, Brendel. You don't know who it's going to be. I don't even think Kyle Shanahan knows who it's going to be. But at this point, I think that's the biggest issue is the O line. I know today they worked the offensive lineman. Maybe they add somebody to the mix, but I don't know. Other than that, that's really the big spot. I'm kind of worried, but everything else I've seen looks good.
Yeah, the interior line to me is like concerning because the center position, like if we can just get that center spot figured out, I think as long as our guards play adequate, we're fine. It's a plus. But Aaron Banks has to prove it. Spencer Burford, he's standing out and he's outstanding. Like I just came away impressed just by watching a lot of his film before the draft. I was checking a lot of the work of what he does, and then for whatever reason, I was just lucky. Usually I just tag in some random college players, see if they're interested to go on the show, and he was quick enough to respond right away. And then I just liked his attitude and the way he presents himself. It's just this is the kind of player I liked, and I'm like saying this is exactly what Shanahan would want on his team. Like a guy on this offensive line, you got to be mobile. You got to play. You got to play like multiple spots besides one position because he can play guard or tackle. So that's a huge plus, and he's got to be very athletic. And his physical type of play it does fit what we do.
Yeah, yeah, he's a beast, man. And I think with him, he's so versatile. That's what he told me when I was talking to him a couple weeks ago. And versatility is why I think Shanahan and Lynch value him. You're right. When you're a guy on this team, especially when you're young, they're going to move you all over to really find what your role is, and he's a natural tackle, but he's playing guard. And kudos to him. He's played every single snap on the first team at right guard. That's impressive. As a rookie for Kyle Shanahan, that means he's done something right. I know Trent Williams vouched for him. That's what he said. And he trained with Trent over the summer, him and Jason Pope. And Trent really put in a good word and said, hey, look, this is my dog, man. You got to give him some reps. And not only that, he impressed the coaches during OTAs and rookie minicamp and then mandatory minicamp. You could tell. And when he was telling me, he says, I'm just going out there and do whatever the team needs me to do to help win. He goes, that's all I want. And like you said, he's just this good young man. And that's the character he has is the character that Kyle and John bring to this team. He really is a phenomenal young man. Like, I can't stress it enough. I'm not just saying that. He is a very humble, nice young guy. His parents raised him really good, and I think that's why Kyle and John like him. And it's cool to see him, shining right now at right guard. He's had some up days, some bad days, and some good days, but the fact that he's still a right guard right now says a lot. I think he's going to go a long way. I like the kid.
Yeah, even when he first had those reps during training camp, it was, to be fair, there was no pads, so it was like it was a disadvantage for him. But then once he got into those pads, he got a lot better. So it's like the more reps he gets, the better he gets with the reps. So it's like I feel like he can be the clear winner for that spot. Unless they really feel very high on Jalen Moore or McKivitz. I just don't know about McKivitz or Moore.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything special out of them. And again, you're right. If they feel something special about them, then yeah, 100%, they might get their opportunity. And that's going to really be determined in preseason. It's hard to gauge in training camp. Like, yeah, they might have some good reps in here and there, but preseason guys are really going to get their test, and you can really grade them a little bit better against another team. See how their technique, holds up against somebody else. But I do think Burford still has the heads up, the leg up on competition right now going into that right guard spot. Jalen Moore's not bad, but I feel he's probably better at tackle himself. And then just McKivitz, I don't know. I'm not sold on the guy. There's a lot of other guys, Nick Sakel. I know they have, Justin Skule, but those guys to me just seem like, depth, nothing like a starter at this point. So Burford really is an advantage. And one thing I told him the other week, I said, you know what? Honestly, you probably picked the best team for your position because there's a lot of openings. We had Laken Tomlinson head out this offseason, got the bag. Alex Mack retired. So O-line has been a position where if you got some talent and you can come in here and you can be that dog, you're going to get a big opportunity. And I think that's what we need on that line. We need a bully because Kyle Shanahan's offense is very physical. If you can't block the run, if you can't bully D linemen, you're not going to survive in this offense. So I think he's got that bully mentality. He's you see him, he's big dude. He is towering dude. He kind of looks like Trent Williams when he was younger, and I feel like if he hits that weight room a little bit more in a year or two, he's gonna look like Trent Williams does now. It's crazy, man. But Trent Williams that's a whole nother man and another story.
And he looked up to him too, so that's the crazy part. And they got the same birthday too. That's interesting.
Yeah, he told me that. He was like, "Yeah, it's crazy. We had the same birthday." I was like, "What? That's so cool." But yeah, Williams, man, nobody looks as polished as him on that field. It's crazy because I'm watching his technique. His hand placement is always like perfect. Everybody else is like a little choppy. This guy looks like a conductor of an orchestra, and it's tough because everybody says, "Oh, the whole line doesn't look good." I don't know because you're comparing everybody you're watching that day to Trent Williams. Of course, they're not going to look good compared to Trent Williams. So I feel like they're not as bad as everybody's making them out to be.
They just got to get some more work on it and the chemistry with the center spot too, because if they just got to settle with the spot, like it's between Brunskill and Brendo. That's what I'm hearing. So it's like until they finally settle that starting spot, then we can get that chemistry going with Trey, with the hiking and all the communications.
Yeah, 100%. You need to figure out who it is because I think you're right. Is from what I've noticed, there's been some issues with the snaps, and every day they stay late and they work on it. So I feel like if they can just say, okay, you're the center, and they can work on that every day. I mean, I don't know why the hell they're not committed, but I mean, they again, it's a evaluation process. You want to make sure you're getting the best out of the best, and you want the best players on the field, when the season starts. So It's tough, man, because there's days where I'm like, okay, Brunskill, he's getting the first team reps. He has to be the center. The next day, here comes Jake Brendel, and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, Kyle. So it's definitely a battle.
It's kind of like confusing because I rather have somebody that would be more trustworthy, and then Trey can just build that chemistry with and build the trust, and then you can get the communication with him. Because when you play center, like myself, I played center, I played multiple spots. And when you are the center, you have to be the quarterback of that offensive lineman. You got to communicate on those calls, those stunt plays, whatever goes on, and you got to be able to hike the ball perfectly. Because if you hike it pretty badly, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And
Oh,
you,
yeah.
and then yeah, especially for centers, you got to move. Once you hike, you got to move. That's it. And you just have to stay focused on your communication. You got to stay on one spot. But when you play guard and tackle, there's always those little moves where you just do those little pulls and you go around, and it's interesting. That's what I mean. Before, I wasn't quite a big fan of the offensive lineman until I started playing the position. Now I'm like starting to embrace it more. So it's like I was more of a defensive line guy. So I was like, man, I just want to hurt the quarterback or push the offensive line to the ground.
Yeah. But you're right, man. People don't understand the O line as much. They don't get enough respect because everybody's the D line. They're coming after the quarterback. But the guys that are stopping that are those O linemen, the trench dogs, man. Like it's trench warfare. And if you can't get the defensive lineman to halt in his tracks, your quarterback's gonna hate your guts because he's about to eat the turf, and we don't want that, And you got your quarterback upright. So if your quarterback gets hurt, that's no good. If your quarterback doesn't have time to throw the ball, that's no good. And you're right. I feel center on that line is so important because that snap, that first snap, that's the first part of every play is that snap. If you fuck that up, goes the play. So you're pretty much done. And you're right. You have to really tell everybody on that line where they got to be. And you might have to like read the D line. Oh, they might shift this way. They might shift that way. That's why Alex Mack was so good because he was a long time NFL. He was like a 13, 14-year veteran, right? 13-year veteran. And I mean, he knew he could probably just sit there, line up, and be like, oh, shit, he's going to do this, 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 this. He probably told the line, okay, shift here, move your right foot 20 degrees here. Like, he knew where people needed to be, and we're going to miss that. That's going to be a big miss. I'm telling you, this guy had a lot of stability at that center spot. But if they can figure it out, I won't be too mad because I think they can. If they figure it out sooner rather than later, Trey can feel that chemistry. But I hope they don't wait too long. They need to commit soon.
Yeah, if they weren't sure about the center spot, they should have went with JC Treader and signed him, but I don't think that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to give chances, so
They like to develop their players, and I get it. That's the Niner way, but I feel like if something starts not looking right in the next couple weeks, they might say, "Screw it, let's go sign J.C. Treader," because he's sitting there on free agency, sitting there. The longer we wait, the cheaper he might get. So
usually you want to get a veteran. And I thought Shanahan values more of the center position because you got to have a guy with experience and actually knows how to play the position at the highest level.
yeah, I agree with that. I really wish they could have got Treader, but again, I know they really value the people they have on their team, and I feel like they're going to give him this time. It's only been it seems like it's been like a month at training camp because it's been so crazy, but it's only been a week. So let's take it with a grain of salt. But if it kind of continues to be where it is in the next two after the preseason game, then I think they might need to make a move.
Yeah, but I think at the moment I would rather prefer to go with some. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Brunskill playing center, but he can't be no worse than Brendel, right?
I mean, yeah, that's what I look at it. I don't like Brunskill playing center. I feel he's better at guard,
Or
but
tackle.
or tackle. That's true. I mean, he's so versatile. So that's the thing with Brunskill that I do like. He can play pretty much everywhere on the line. So, and I feel like Shanahan wants a versatile guy. If he can figure out center, then now he just has Burford on the right side, who you didn't have before. And then if he becomes good, then that's a double. That's a double win. You have two guys that are excelling in a position you didn't think they could. Because again, Burford tackle. If he's playing good at guard, dub. If Brunskill is playing good at center, it's a dub. But if he doesn't pan out there, then they got to go to Brendel. But again, Brendel's not showing that he has everything yet. So it's tough, man. And going to the left guard, I know you mentioned him earlier, Aaron Banks. There's a lot of pressure on this kid. Lakin Thomason's out the door, and now you have Aaron Banks on that left side. This man has a lot of pressure. You know, they drafted him in the second round last year, pretty much redshirted last year, and now everybody has their eyes on him. He hasn't had a bad camp. He looks pretty much like he got in really good shape this year. You can tell. I saw pictures of him last year compared
He
to this year.
toned up a little, yeah.
Toned up, yeah. He shed the baby fat, and he looks a little bit more muscular this year. So that's good. And he hasn't had a bad camp. He's had some really good days. So that to me is a promising sign because if Aaron Banks doesn't look good, boy, they're gonna come for this man's neck.
But that's the point about what we're doing is we're developing our own talent. So I think we really like what we see out of Aaron Banks. We like that he's a good run blocker, an okay pass blocker, but that will take some time. I mean, he's already like dropping some pounds and adding some muscles instead of all that stuff. So he should be. I'm hoping he's good because this is a high investment. Like you passed on some good talent players. Like at the time, we needed a shutdown corner, and you passed on a guy like Asante Samuel by trading down with the Raiders.
I remember that day. Don't remind me. I was screaming at the top of my lungs.
Dude, I lost it. I lost it, dude. I was like, damn, the Chargers got him before we did.
We're live, me and the quad bike, and we were waiting. We were like, oh shit, it's not there. And then the music cues up, breaking news. Great. I'm like, what is going on? And then breaking news, the Chargers draft, Asante Samuel. We were all like, what? And then boom, the Niners just drafted Aaron Banks, and we're just like, what just happened? I was not the happiest of campers, but hey, if he balls out, then it's all for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there was talks that he had third to fourth round grade. That's all I've seen about. And I'm like, man, we could have waited until the next round. But I guess maybe there was a team that really wanted him. So sometimes that's what happens with teams. They always value a certain player before another team does. So it's like, even though you might think, well, he wasn't quite the guy. I mean, we passed on a guy like Creed Humphrey. Could have been the long-term answer at center.
I know. Like there was so much talent, but you can't predict what the team's draft board is. You know, at the end of the day, like they might value one guy over the other one, and they stick to those values. Like they don't switch just to be, oh, we got to get Asante because there. If he's not as high as the other guy on their board, they're not going to draft him. And it's tough though because as fans, we sit there and we're like banging on the table. What the hell are you doing? Draft this guy, blah 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 blah. So, oh man, it's tough.
Yeah, it happens. But like when I was like doing some due diligence on these draft boards, I was like looking at what would fit the team. And I mean, Aaron Banks is like a rare pick for us because we like versatility at that position. And we just pick a natural guard who's like more of a power blocker in that scheme that he did at Notre Dame.
Yeah. That's true. It's not the traditional Niner pick with Kyle Shanahan because right, they like to have that versatile type player.
And the fast ones, the lighter ones, that's what they usually go for. Yeah. Like Burford, for example, is the perfect example, but Aaron Banks is like a big power one.
Yeah. It is definitely interesting. But hey, if he pans out, then they hit a dub. I mean, he's got a lot of pressure though, because that is a second round pick, and that's not a pick that's light, or something you don't really have to worry about, like a late round pick. This is a second round pick. There's a lot of pressure. So hopefully he looks good. But like you said, to wrap this whole part up, is the O-line's developing, and that's the way the Niners like to do it.
Yeah, and the richers get richer at the running back position, especially in this year's draft. It caught me by surprise. I didn't even think we were going to get this running back. And I'm like, what? This guy from LSU, I'm like, we could have waited.
Yeah, he looks good, though, in training camp. Ty Davis Price, man. I think they could have, but the thing with the Niners is they run, and run some more. So their offense is predicated by the run. And last year, every single running back got hurt. So they need to protect their offense, basically. And that's what they did. They stacked that running back room. TDP's looking good, and he's a physical run. Just like Aaron Banks, he's not the traditional type of player that Kyler usually gets. Usually gets those speedy, elusive guys. TDP's going to hit you right in the mouth. He's going to go up the gut. He's tough to tackle, and he's quick on the edge. I was, like, surprised how fast he is off the edge. I was like, holy crap. This guy's had a really good training camp, but so is Trey Sermon. Last year, he was the third-round pick, and that's why I think a lot of people were surprised with TDP, because last year you drafted a third-round running back, and you did the same thing this year, but I feel like Sermon feels that pressure. he's coming into camp looking solid. He's jacked. He's focused, and he's having a great camp. Multiple days where he just does big runs. He looks fast. He trained with it's the dude up in Minnesota, that running back.
Devin Cook.
He trained with him in the off season. I think it's rubbing off because he is looking so good this season. Elijah Mitchell's still running back one, but it's nice that we have a couple running backs that are going to help take some pressure off of him.
Yeah, and he did add some weight too, Elijah Mitchell. So it's like he expects to get some more touches. So of course he's going to try to add as much weight as he can so he can be an every down back. But then you look at the rest of the running backs. It's pretty like, dude, there's just a lot of talented running backs. Like you got Jeff Wilson, who can still be a good running back if he were to go elsewhere. You get Jermichael Hasty, who could definitely be one of those sleepers, and then you got this kid, Jordan Mason. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about this kid. Like he's like another Ty Davis Price. You get this kid undrafted.
This guy is he's like a Kyle Shanahan special. You know how Kyle finds these late round gems, undrafted gems. Jordan Mason has been turning heads. Like every time I'm in practice, I see a big run by 41. I'm like, there goes that man, Jordan Mason. There goes Jordan Mason. There goes Jordan. He is really impressing me. It's going to be interesting in the preseason. If he continues to ball out, he's making this roster. I think he makes.
Yeah, Jeff Wilson's going to have a hard time.
Him or Jermichael Hasty. I think Wilson makes it because Shanahan's pretty loyal. And last year, Wilson didn't really get a shot because of the injury and everything. I think Wilson will make it. He has gotten some first team reps. I don't know. And he's good. He's a good short yardage back. He's a good goal line back. Shanahan loves that guy in goal line situations. But it is going to come down between Mason, Hasty, and Wilson for those final running back spots. But Jordan,
dude, like he's phenomenal. Like I hear that he can catch the ball at the backfield too, and he's very fast for his size.
Quick on his feet. Like I honestly have not seen him drop one pass. He's got great hands. Great hands. I'm just impressed. I've been very impressed. Every time I watch, I see Jordan Mason, I'm like, this guy's like Brandon Ayuk. Both of them are just come in and make big plays every time.
Yeah, and he's kind of been one of those guys that nobody's even talking about, but it's getting a little buzz now because everybody's saying, who's this kid that we got, this Jordan Mason? It looks like he's making some noise right now. So it's like, damn, like the running back's getting richer. But here's an interesting question. What record do you think the Niners will finish with? I said we're going to finish 12-5.
12-5. I feel like we're going to go 11-6. That was my prediction earlier a couple weeks when the schedule dropped, and I'm going to stick with it. I feel like 11-6 is safe, good record. But I mean, I wouldn't doubt 12-5. But you always lose some of those stupid games that you shouldn't. So I'm going to throw those in there. But I think we go 11-6 overall.
Seems realistic. Like if we're going by the record wise, I just feel like maybe 12-5 is like a little of the expectation. Like the high ceiling could be 12 wins for us, but the low ceiling could be 10 in between, because I think we have what it takes to be a playoff team, but people are only questioning about Trey Lance. They're saying if he can take it to the next level.
But the thing with Trey Lance is he's got the talent. He's got the pedigree. He's got the mentality. He has everything. He's just going to get better as the reps go. And again, the run game's going to help. Play action game. People forget we were in the NFC Championship game. Not a lot of it's changed. We added some players. We got a better secondary this year. We still have Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shahir, got E-Man, you got Kittle, you got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got Trent Williams. Talent is there, premium talent. Kyle Juszczyk, some of the best players at their positions. You added a quarterback that's probably better than your last one once he kind of figures it out and he gets, his feet set. I don't think that we should limit this team. I don't think that people should have less expectations. I still think that they should have Super Bowl aspirations because the talent on this team is unbelievable. Trey Lance is in the best position for any young quarterback. Like I haven't seen a young quarterback in this position in many years. And Trey Lance, I feel he just has it in between the ears. He's such a good kid, and he wants to be a star. A lot of people are going to doubt him, and I can't wait for him to prove him wrong. He sometimes makes some plays where I'm just like, oh man, when he gets it all together, it's scary. I mean, he's going to have some ups, he's going to have some downs, but that's to be expected. Overall, I'm excited about Trey Lance, man.
Oh, I guess we got a Rams who's a bit of a critic, but It's true with the offense line. Then people are saying the inexperienced quarterback could be the question mark. But I feel like we got the talent. I feel like we could get to the playoffs. But I'm not hyping on Super Bowl. I'm gonna lower it down first until we get to the playoffs. So it's like wait and see what happens. But
Playoffs for sure.
I just think that we could be a playoff team. It's just people are just wondering how better are we going to be with Trey because there's going to be those growing pains. There's going to be those games where you're like, "Dad, why did Trey play like this?" That's going to be one of those moments.
But again, a lot of people are going to doubt this team. I know we started off slow, but we have a great coaching staff, and again, there's great talent on this team. The secondary's better, and you know what? The defense might carry them for a while. They might carry them for a while, but that defense is going to be top in this. I'm telling you, man, this defense is going to help this team be in good position every game, and Trey's going to start building some confidence, and I don't think they're going to struggle as much as a lot of people think the Niners are going to struggle. I just really don't. Honestly, I don't. I mean, I think other teams, the Rams might be struggling more than the Niners. Their quarterback is arm fatigue, tendonitis. Mr. Stafford, he's going to have some issues. I'm just saying, man, there's some issues. Everybody thinks that the Rams are going to go waltz right back into the Super Bowl. Got another thing coming because Kyle Shanahan, he owns McVay. He has a little bit of revenge coming. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and then when you look at it this way, it's going to be interesting how we fare against the Rams, especially the defending champions. It's going to be challenging. They're kind of like making it sound like, oh, we should have no problem with this quarterback. They were more scared of Jimmy than they were Trey. I'm like, dude, you haven't even seen Trey play against you guys, so maybe it might not be the best case scenario for you guys. Because sometimes when people say, "Be careful what you wish for,"
Yeah, 100%. Be careful of what you wish for. I just can't wait. I just can't wait. Oh man, this can be a good season, my man.
yeah, sure is. And then, it's going to be pretty interesting, especially the cornerback position, man. I think, like you said, this defense could carry some of our offense a little bit. Like it might be a guy like Travarius Warren who can make some picks. Then you might get some guys like everybody's hyping about Jimmy Ward having some breakout year, going to the Pro Bowl for once. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I'm hoping that Hufanga can be an upgrade over Tart. But I think he'll be solid.
Yeah, Hufanga looks good. He looks solid. He's really transformed himself this year. He looks like he has great communication with Jimmy. I love Jimmy. He's underrated. People don't give him enough respect. I know he doesn't get the big stats, but his game doesn't get respect because he doesn't put up big numbers in the box score. But Jimmy Ward, man, super underrated. He's been a good safety with this team. Early in his career, a lot of injuries, but I really value what Jimmy brings to the team. Tart wasn't horrible, but he always had the injuries kind of limited him. Couldn't really reach his full potential. And a lot of people hate on Tart because of that interception, the drop interception. But there were some plays he made through the season that if he didn't make, they wouldn't have even got to that point. So ultimately, I really feel that Tart wasn't as bad as many people thought. But I do like Hufanga. This guy has a great vibe to him. His mentality is insane. He comes to the field. He's always the first one on the field every single day in practice, usually the last to leave. Like, this guy's mentality is killer. I think him and Jimmy Ward are going to be a great duo. I'm excited about Hufanga. And if he can play, just as good as Tart, then they're solid because Tart and Ward weren't a bad combo. And then again, with the best, with E-Man, who's in a contract year, and Charvarius Ward, who's just on another level, this secondary is going to be dangerous. So I'm so hyped up on this defense, man. You don't understand. This defense, a lot of these guys are on contract year. Drake Greenlaw, Aziz, they're all going to be playing for money, man. They're all going to be hungry.
Yeah, they are, and especially we're due for that 6 Lombardi, man. So we're gonna get it before another team does. Like we're gonna do. Let me put it in a better prediction. We'll win our 6th Super Bowl before even the Cowboys even make an NFC Championship appearance, before the Raiders even make a conference appearance, bro. We're gonna have a better chance to get a 6 Lombardi before the Rams even win their 3rd.
Let's go, man. That's what I want to hear. I hope we do.
That's bold prediction right there. I think that's what's going to happen in the next couple of years.
That's the way we do it. But you know what? I feel like this team is very close to winning a Super Bowl, man. And I've been waiting for a long time. It's been a minute since we won one. So, but Yeah, man.
I think in a couple of years, I think we have a chance to get that sixth Lombardi. I'm not saying this year because I'm not sure. I gotta wait and see what happens, because it takes time. Because Trey has to develop and get those experience in, and as soon as he starts getting the experience, he'll get it. He'll make it look very easy.
Yeah. I think you're right. Again, once he gets settled, once he starts picking things up, and the game slows down for him, it's gonna be dangerous. But it just depends on how long that's gonna take. That process could take a little long, but once it all kind of comes together, this is going to be a very, very unstoppable team. And then again, the defense already is at that level. They've been dominating training camps, and the defense should be ahead of the offense. But that's when you look at the offense and people say they're struggling in camp. Well, they should be. They're playing against the best defense in the league. So I don't know. I'm pretty damn jacked up. This defense is going to carry this team for a while, and then once the offense kind of gets going and rolling, it's gonna be a scary team overall, both sides. The special teams even improved this year, so I don't know, man. Definitely excited. Any last couple things you want to go over here?
Yeah, we can put one more question here. Any word on how Trey Sermon is looking? He struggled big time his rookie year. I think he's catching on. If we're answering this question.
Yeah, I was just talking about Trey Sermon a few minutes ago. If you missed it, he looks really good in camp. You can tell he's coming in refocused, re-energized. He looks strong. He's quick. He's been making big run after big run after big run. The other day, ones he dominated. He dominated in one-on-one. So I really like what I've seen out of Trey Sermon. He's just like bringing his A game. I think this is a big rebound year, coming back with a vengeance this year. And I like the guy they brought in, Anthony Lynn. He's really helping these running backs, man. I could tell there's a big difference in that running back room. So I have a good feeling about Trey Sermon this year. Last year he got hurt. He was a rookie. This year he looks better so far.
Yeah, man. Hey, I definitely appreciate you being on the show, but tell everybody where they can find you on your channel.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Thanks for having me. We got to do this again. It's fun times.
For sure, man.
OurSF49ers on YouTube, and it's OurSF49ers on Twitter, and it's OurSF49ers on Instagram. So those are the channels, and appreciate you for having me on, my man.
For sure, man. We'll definitely need to catch up. Maybe I'll go on your channel for this one.
Yeah. Come on. We'll work on something.
Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate it, man. And as always, CG Ruthless Sports and OurSF49ers Raj is out, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.